The Golden Pharaoh, a majestic journey through ancient Egypt. Reimagined becomes a sweeping exploration into the glimmering world of ancient power, divine kingship, and the breathtaking splendor that defined one of history's greatest civilizations. This is the story of gold, not merely as metal, but as a symbol of eternity, divinity, and royal perfection woven into the very identity of Egypt's most legendary rulers. Hello, and welcome to History Sleep Stories. Before we begin, consider subscribing to us. Here we go. From the moment ancient Egypt began taking shape along the fertile banks of the Nile around 3100 BCE, its people associated gold with immortality. They believed it was the flesh of the gods, untarnishing, eternal, immune to decay and corruption. When the early kings of the first dynasty were laid to rest beneath mastabas at Abydos, gold was already a marker of their sacred power. By the time the Old Kingdom dawned around 2686 BCE, pharaohs like Djoser and Khufu had woven gold into the fiber of their religious identity, using it to signal that they were not merely rulers, but manifestations of Horus on earth. The Golden Pharaoh was not a single individual, but the embodiment of an idea, a divine monarch whose radiance symbolized unending life. As Egypt expanded its wealth and influence, mining expeditions were launched into Nubia, the eastern desert, and the Sinai Peninsula. Gold-bearing quartz veins were crushed, sifted, and smelted by laborers who endured the burning desert sun. Records from the reign of Thutmose III, who ruled during the 18th dynasty, around 1479 to 1425 BCE, describe immense quantities of gold brought back from campaigns and tributes. Gold flowed into palaces, temples, workshops, and tombs. It adorned statues, decorated shrines, and covered royal thrones. But it was in burial preparations that gold reached its most spectacular artistic expression. The belief in life after death demanded that a pharaoh be preserved and protected through eternity, surrounded by all the wealth and divine symbolism necessary to ensure safe passage into the afterlife. It is impossible to speak of the Golden Pharaoh without invoking Tutankhamun, though his fame blossomed centuries after his reign. Tutankhamun ruled between 1332 and 1323, a relatively minor king who became a global icon in 1922 when Howard Carter uncovered his nearly intact burial chamber in the Valley of the Kings. Within that dimly lit tomb, glimmering beneath centuries of dust, was the purest manifestation of ancient Egypt as belief in divine kingship. A solid gold funerary mask weighing more than 20 pounds. Crafted from hammered sheets of gold inlaid with lapis lazuli, carnelian, and obsidian, the mask radiated with eternal youth, its serene expression capturing the divine essence of a pharaoh reborn. Behind it lay nested coffins, the innermost made of over 240 pounds of solid gold. It was a sight that the ancient world had prepared for, but the modern world had never imagined. Yet Tutankhamun was only one chapter in a much longer story. The very concept of a golden pharaoh took shape long before his birth and lived on long after his death. During the Middle Kingdom around 2050 BCE, kings like Senusret III emphasized their divine radiance not only through gold, but through monumental architecture and military triumphs. By the New Kingdom, gold had become a measure of international power. Letters preserved in the Amarna archive reveal that kings of neighboring lands begged Egypt for gold, calling it as common as dust in the land of the Nile. These rulers understood that gold was more than wealth. It was a diplomatic currency, a projection of Egypt's divine authority. The Temple of Karnak, the largest religious complex ever constructed, bore gold-plated obelisks commissioned by Queen Hatshepsut around 1479-1458 BCE. She boasted that she had made them electrum of the best kind, never before seen since the beginning of time. Their golden tips caught the sunlight each morning, reflecting the rays of the sun god Ra, to whom the pharaoh was intimately connected. Gold was the medium through which a pharaoh's spiritual bond with the divine was both declared and renewed. This divine association reached its zenith with Akhenaten, who ruled from 1353 to 1336 BCE. He attempted to reshape Egyptian religion by worshipping the Aten, the sun disk. For him, gold symbolized pure divine light, the physical embodiment of the sun's radiance. Statues of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, fragments of gilded reliefs, and Aten temples once shimmering in sunlight, reveal how deeply the pharaoh believed gold to be the material essence of divinity. Goldsmiths of ancient Egypt were master artists, working in workshops attached to temples and royal palaces. Their tools were simple chisels, hammers, burnishers, and crucibles, but their skill was extraordinary. They hammered gold into thin sheets, molded it into rings, bracelets, pectorals, and crowns. They crafted delicate filigree and cloison pieces inlaid with turquoise and lapis. They created gold sandals, gold chariots, gold finger stalls, and elaborate collars meant to rest forever on the royal chest. Every object carried protective symbolism. The falcon wings of Horus, the scarab of rebirth, the solar disk of Ra. These motifs were embedded into gold so that they could accompany a pharaoh into eternity. But the Golden Pharaoh was not defined solely by luxury. Gold symbolized divine duty. Pharaohs led military campaigns, not only to expand borders, but to uphold cosmic order. When Amenhotep II shot arrows through copper targets, or when Ramesses II faced the Hittites at the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BCE, their feats were celebrated with golden tributes. Gold collars, called the Gold of Honor, were bestowed on soldiers and dignitaries as rewards for loyalty. Gold thus became a symbol of courage, justice, and divine favor, circulating through society as a token of royal generosity. Inside the tombs of the Valley of the King's walls were painted with scenes of golden landscapes, the night sky glittering with stars made of gold, the sun god sailing across the heavens in a golden bark, and fields of reeds shimmering with light. Pharaohs journeyed through a golden afterlife, their souls protected by deities like Hathor, whose face was often represented in gold to signify her radiance. Gold leaf-covered statues of Osiris, whose role as Lord of the Afterlife required the brilliant, untarnishing quality of divine luminosity. Gold also played a political role in shaping a pharaoh's image. When Ramesses II commissioned colossal statues of himself at Abu Simbel around 1264 BCE, they were carved from stone, but originally embellished with colorful paint and gilded decorations that would glint under the desert sun. These golden accents proclaimed his godlike power to all who approached the temple. Visitors from Nubia, Libya, and the Near East encountered a pharaoh whose brilliance was unmistakable, whose presence was defined by light. Even as Egypt's political power waned during the Third Intermediate Period, around 1070 to 664 BCE, its gold work reached new artistic heights. Libyan and Nubian dynasties continued the tradition of gilded funerary treasures. In fact, Nubia, particularly the Kingdom of Kush, held gold as a sacred material and crafted extraordinary jewelry that rivaled Egyptian craftsmanship. When the Kushite king Taharqa ruled Egypt during the 25th dynasty, he embraced the Golden Pharaoh ideal, commissioning luxurious objects that reflected both cultures' reverence for the shining metal. One of the most exquisite examples is the Golden Throne of Tutankhamun, covered in chased gold scenes radiating with life, depicting the young king and his queen Ankhesenamun in tender, human warmth, an image captured in precious metal meant to endure for eternity. When Howard Carter discovered the boy king's unbroken tomb in 1922, he unveiled a world that no modern eyes had seen, a realm of dazzling gold, untouched for over 3 millennia. The golden funerary mask, weighing more than 20 pounds, is arguably the most recognizable artifact from antiquity. Ramesses awarded military heroes with collars of gold a prestigious honor known as the Gold of Valor. This tradition emphasized that loyalty and bravery brought divine favor. The Kushite kings of the 25th dynasty, who ruled Egypt during the 700s BCE, embraced traditional Egyptian religious practices. King Taharqa, among the most powerful of them, commissioned golden ornaments, statues, and crowns that blended Egyptian symbolism with Kushite artistic flair. Kushite queens known as Kandakes also wore elaborate gold jewelry, showing how the reverence for gold had spread and evolved. During the Ptolemaic era, which began after Alexander the Great conquered Egypt in 332 BCE, gold maintained its royal symbolism. Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh, often adorned herself in gold as she proclaimed her divine link to the goddess Isis. Roman writers described her shimmering presence during ceremonies held along the Nile. Her golden ornaments served not only as adornment, but as political statement symbols of queenship in a rapidly changing world. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but Egyptian gold endured. When modern archaeologists uncovered golden statues, funerary masks, and jewelry from long-forgotten tombs, they remained as brilliant as the day they were created. Unlike painted sculptures or wooden artifacts that decayed, gold stood untouched, its radiance preserved through time. Museums worldwide now display Egyptian gold, the golden diadems of queens, the amulets worn by priests, the golden vessels used in temple rites, and the sarcophagi once reserved for kings. To handle these treasures today is to touch eternity. Goldsmiths from thousands of years ago left behind a legacy of craftsmanship that still inspires awe. The precision with which they shaped individual beads, the artistry behind intricate necklaces, and the spiritual devotion woven into every object continue to fascinate scholars and visitors alike. Modern imaging techniques reveal hidden details, inscriptions under gold leaf, hammered designs invisible to the naked eye, and construction methods that demonstrate remarkable engineering skill. The Golden Pharaoh represents all these kings and queens who shaped Egypt. As golden identity, the rulers who believed themselves to be living gods, radiant with divine purpose. Their gold-adorned temples, their gilded thrones, their gleaming crowns, and their eternal burial treasures show a civilization obsessed not with wealth, but with cosmic harmony. To the Egyptians, gold was the material expression of a world where humanity met divinity, where life met eternity. As we journey deeper into this golden world, we uncover a culture that embraced beauty as a pathway to spiritual truth. Gold illuminated the temples, guided the dead, crowned the living, and symbolized a divine order that held Egypt together for millennia. Across deserts, tombs, and time-worn monuments, the gleam of gold remains the echo of a civilization that dared to make immortality visible. Thank you for joining us on this extended, majestic journey through the golden heart of ancient Egypt. If this story carried you into the shimmering world of the pharaohs, consider subscribing for more timeless journeys. Until next time, may the golden glow of history guide your dreams and lead you softly into peaceful sleep.